Published on photos, properties, and all that. Hold on. Don't put it in the freeman folder. They're bringing us down.
Oh, yeah.
You had a couple of jurors out of there. Okay. I put one on the no, I just put one on. Oh no, that's fine. It's in it.
No, hold on to the okay.
That's what we're going to do. Keep it alone on the time the next month after the vote, and we exchange that. I think it's just that we're all in anticipation. We just get to do it together. She has to eat a couple days.
I'm trying to be. previously you had said that your story concerning these events was both fluid and ever-changing. But you agreed that the one consistent theme pretty much from the start was that this was only to be a robbery. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
And that's true?
That was true.
All right, let me take you back. Go back to the very first time when they brought you down, when you voluntarily rode with the other detective to meet Detective Barnes. September 4, 2015. I know you don't know the exact times, but around 6:11 p.m. Did you say simply that a masked guy mugged a girl and that you didn't know anything about her?
Yes.
Did you also say on the following day, but it's the same interview, but it's after midnight at 12:50 a.m., say that you didn't know a woman was going to be killed? Specifically, it was only supposed to be a quote, mean mug, end quote.
Yes.
Mean mug meaning a robbery, right?
Yes.
Did you, later in that same interview at 12:53 a.m. on September 5 of 2015, say, I don't know who or why he killed her?
Yes, that's correct.
Same interview, 12:57 a.m., did you say, I thought this was going to be a robbery?
Yes.
Same interview a little bit later, 12:58 a.m., did you say, quote, didn't know that girl was going to get shot, end quote?
Yes.
At 1:04 a.m. on the same day, did you say that he put on gloves and I thought he was going to take her purse? I didn't realize he was going to shoot her.
Yes.
1:04, did you say, I said, what did you do? Why did you do this?
Yes.
1:38, did you say, you don't know how he shot her or that he was supposed to only take her purse and get out?
Yes.
2:03 a.m., did you say, honestly, I didn't know he was going to shoot her?
Yes, I did.
2:03, did you say, I didn't know this girl was going to get killed?
Yes.
All right, now, another interview, not the same day. I mean, and not after midnight either, on September 9. This would be, really 5 days after they first brought you in. Did you make a statement, so 5 days after they first bring you down, when you voluntarily went down for questioning, on September 9, 2015, at a little after noon, did you say, he was supposed to drive and he was going to take the purse and we were going to leave? That was it.
Yes.
Same interview, a little bit later, did you make the statement, I just thought he'd take the purse?
Yes.
Same interview on September 9, 2015, but later, did you say, I didn't see the gun? I did not see the gun until he, meaning the shooter, came back into the car with the purse.
Yes.
And did you say, I immediately said, what did you do?
Yes.
And you were saying, what did you do to the shooter?
Yes.
Same interview. When he came in, I was like, what did you do? Why did you do that? Something to that effect, talking
Yes.
about what you were saying to the shooter.
Yes.
And did you tell the police, quote, did you respond to the police telling them in response to what did the shooter say?
Yes.
Did you tell the police, quote, the bitch was being stubborn, end quote?
Yes.
You told that to the police?
Yes.
And that was when you were asking him, why did you shoot her?
Yes.
Later, 8 days later, on September 17, did you tell the police, the guy was just going to get her purse, and I said, are you sure? Because I've got Ivan in the trunk.
Yes, I did.
That's going to be truck. All right, number one, there's no trunk on a Jeep, right?
Right.
Number two, you did not put your son in a truck.
That's right.
All right, I misspoke, but for the question, about 2:31 and 8 seconds p.m., did you say the guy was going to get her purse and that's it? And are you sure, because I've got Ivan, your son, in the truck?
Yes, I told him that.
So you were telling police, I'm verifying that this is only going to be a mugging or a robbery.
Yes.
Again, now this is obviously a week or so later, more than a week, on September 17 of 2015, 2:34, did you tell the police? He jumps in the truck and asks him, what did you do? And then you again say that he responded by saying the bitch was being stubborn.
Yes.
And another interview following that, October 1, 2015, we're now almost a month into these interrogations with you and the police. Did you on October 1, 2015 at 10:54 a.m. say that you and the shooter were debating which one would drive and which one would take the purse?
Yes.
So you're telling this is 1 day shy of a month after the actual crime, and you're telling the police, we, meaning you and Kristopher Love, the shooter, are trying to decide among us which one of us should drive and which one should snatch her purse.
Yes, that's correct.
And did you, later in that same meeting, at 11:05, say, I was down to take the purse, but I wasn't down to kill this lady?
Yes.
Meaning you were in agreement that you would participate in a mugging, theft, robbery,
Yes.
but in no way were you in agreement with killing the lady.
Right. That's what I told him.
If we look at the case, once the police have Kristopher Love, regardless of what you did or didn't believe, and by this what I mean, if you didn't actually know he was going to shoot her, but that he was going to rob her, and you agreed to drive the car knowing he's going to rob her, you understand under the law that makes you guilty just like the guy, correct?
I didn't know at the time, but now I do, yes.
All right. So you, and that's what I'm getting at. In terms of your state of mind as to knowledge and where it bears on your credibility, you understand and have understood that if somebody drives somebody to commit a robbery and all they're going to do is be the driver, then they are a party under the law to that crime, correct?
Correct.
And you know that you would have fit squarely within the law of parties on this, correct?
Correct.
So even if you didn't know what he's going to do, if you knew there was going to be a robbery, you know you're a party to this, right?
Correct.
And if somebody says, you know, I'm going to go commit a robbery, but I really don't intend to shoot anybody, but they end up doing it, then you're still held accountable for doing that because it is foreseeable if you commit a robbery, somebody could get hurt or killed. You understand that, right?
I understand, yes.
As a legal principle.
Yes.
All right, not giving you a law school exam, but, and if we went back to September 1, the day before any of this ever happened, you wouldn't have known any of this, would you? These principles of law.
No, I didn't know any of
All
this.
right.
No.
But in the 4 years that you have, well, not, in the 3 years from September 4, if we get there, September 4, the police took you into custody, didn't they?
Yes.
So all these subsequent interviews, you were in custody then, right?
Yes.
So from September 4 of 2015 until September 21 of 2018, you have kind of learned all these principles of law, correct?
Yes.
And you now fully understand and have for some time after September 4, obviously, but before September 21 of 2018, you have understood and have been made to know what the law parties means and how you will be a party to a robbery that turned into a murder, which is a capital murder under Texas law, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go back to, you said we basically worked on this plan for 2 weeks approximately before the murder occurred. Correct?
Yes.
Now I want to take you back. The murder occurred on September 2, 2015.
Yes.
So if we go back and say August 15, and I am pulling a date out because it's approximately 2 weeks before. I don't mean to
Yes.
pin you on a specific date. But if we go back, let's say, we'll just say 14 days before. 14 days before, well, when you start doing these drives, this surveillance, on the first day that you either followed Dr. Hatcher or you conducted surveillance on either her place of work or where she resides. So take me to that day, whatever it was. What did you do?
I would sit in the passenger seat, and Brenda would drive around. She would show me where Dr. Kendra Hatcher would work. She showed me her place of living, and she showed me the vehicle that she drives.
Let me ask, where did you start from?
We
'Cause I
went-
want to get into the drive. Day one.
We would go from where Brenda lived to the apartment complex where Kendra Hatcher lived.
All right. Brenda lived around Haskell and 75, correct?
Yes.
That drive from Haskell and 75 to Dr. Hatcher's apartment would be no more than 10 minutes in
Yes.
traffic?
Yes.
All right. So you drive from there, I'm taking day one, I'm going to ask about each day. Day one, you drive over to Dr. Hatcher's and you sit there for how long?
We sit out there for about 5 to 10 minutes in the visitors parking while we wait for somebody to come in. And it started becoming routine.
Well, let's start. I want to take day one.
Okay.
So drive over to Dr. Hatcher's apartment. We sit there a while. And you guess how long you waited on that first day?
Yes.
Huh?
5 to 10 minutes.
Then somebody drove in and y'all followed them?
Yes, we followed him inside the gate, and she showed me what kind of car Kendra Hatcher drove.
What time of day was this?
It was at night.
What?
At night.
Okay. And how long did you stay there?
Probably about 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes.
So, and that's in the parking garage.
Yes.
And then you left and went where?
Back to Brenda's apartment.
And was that it for day one on surveillance?
Yes.
So you got hour and a half-ish in this thing? Hour and a
Yes.
half?
Yes.
Day two, what you did?
We go back to Kendra's place of residence from Brenda's house, and we go into the parking garage, and that's when she tells me that the back.
I'm just asking, what did you do?
I went into Kendra's car.
Went into Kendra's car, how long, you guess how long you were in there?
Not that long, maybe about a minute, not even.
How long did you stay in that parking garage?
About 10 minutes that night,
And you went, what time of night is this?
after 10.
And you went from there, where did you go?
We went back to Brenda's apartment.
So you got, is that the only thing you did as far as surveillance on that day? We're now minus 13 days from the day of the murder.
Yes.
Did you do anything else relating, time-wise, relating to the murder? Did you spend any time other than what you described on that day?
No.
Next day, what did you do?
We went to Kendra's place of residence. We drove around the block. Then we went in the parking garage, and we were just watching where Kendra normally parked her car.
How long did you stay about?
About 5-10 minutes.
Then where'd you go?
Back to Brenda's apartment.
When do you start following Dr. Hatcher around?
Probably about the 7th day.
The first 7 days, are they basically this?
Yes.
So what is your purpose in sitting there? You went up there one to case it. You went up there a second time to look in the back of her car. What is the purpose of staring at a parking lot for 5 or 10 minutes on 7 straight days before you begin following Dr. Hatcher?
To see like who's coming in and out of the parking garage at that hour, and to see what would be an easier way to get in and out the parking garage, if we were to park further in or further closer to the exit gate.
Right. If you're going to sit there and try to get a feel for when people are coming in, when people are coming out, you're going to have to sit there more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, we didn't stay that long.
Then how are you, if this is what you say you were doing, how are you conducting surveillance to ascertain the normal flow of traffic in and out of that apartment building if you only look at it for 5 or 10 minutes?
Well, we didn't stay that long.
Right. Go 7, day 7, we're minus 7.
She trades, around that time, she trades her Lexus for her cousin's car.
Now, I'm asking, what did you do time-wise, day 7, started following Dr. Hatcher? Where's the first place Dr. Hatcher was when you started following her?
At her place to job.
At her job?
Yes.
All right. And where did you drive from to get there?
From Brenda's apartment.
That drive, what time of day?
It was the middle of the day. She was still at work, and we stopped at the Dollar General, and I got off and bought a charger.
All right. Who was still at work?
Kendra was.
You drove over there, that drive from Haskell and 75, middle of the day, going to south of 183, almost to MacArthur, would be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere in there. Sound?
You know, I'm going to object to the speculation of him telling what the traffic flow is.
You know the drive, don't you?
Yeah, it didn't take about 30, 40 minutes. It took about like 20, 25 minutes.
Right. So on this first occasion, when you drove to Dr. Hatcher's place of employment, there was 0 traffic in the middle of the day in Dallas on a weekday.
Yes, it was like before rush hour. There wasn't that even.
I-35, how often, prior to being incarcerated, how often did you drive up and down I-35, particularly north of Woodall Rogers Freeway?
Not often.
Would it be a true statement it's a heavily congested freeway at almost all times of the day?
Well, there wasn't that much traffic because it didn't take us that long.
Were you marking the times?
You know, I'm going to object to ask and answer this one.
Did you mark the time when you left?
No, but I don't think it took 30 minutes.
You get out there, what do you do when you get to Dr. Hatcher's place of employment?
We surveillance the area. We see that there's an elementary school across the street, Salvation Army. There's a taco shop in front of the, and there's a washateria.
Just ask, how long were you there?
About 15 minutes.
And then what did you do?
We went back to Brenda's apartment.
Did you, on day 7, did you do any more surveillance of any sort related to Dr. Hatcher?
No.
Next day after that, what surveillance did you do on Dr. Hatcher?
I think that's when we met Kelly and Chris.
This would be down in Oak Cliff, kind of down in the Redbird area, correct?
No, we met by 45 in Illinois.
All right, so 45 in Illinois.
Yes.
You know, 45 in Illinois, you meet them, you had
It's about like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
PM?
Yes.
You meet them, and how long are you with them down there at I-45 in Illinois?
Probably about 15 minutes talking, and then we decide all together as a group to go to the Mandalay apartments.
So you drove down to Illinois 45. Now you all decide to go to Mandalay Apartments, those ones on Surrey Road.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That one is south of where I-35 and 67 split. Correct?
Yeah, we split up and we met the boy.
I'm asking, is that one down south of where I-35 and 67 split?
Yes,
Just so get the geography. So you go to the Mandalay Apartments. How long are you there?
we're there about 30 minutes to an hour.
And then when you leave this apartment, Mandalay Bay, where did you go?
We went back to Kendra's apartment
That drive would take, this is what time of day?
at night, about 9:45, 10 o'clock.
And you just say you got...
I said, you didn't let me finish. You interrupted me.
I'm not trying to interrupt you.
Okay, well, when we met Kelly and Kristopher Love at my mom's house, we split up. We exchanged numbers, and we split up. And then we met them at 9 p.m., between 9 and 10 o'clock at the Mandalay Apartments.
9 and 10 o'clock. What did you do in the interim? Did you do anything relating to this?
No, we just drove around. We went back to her apartment and just talked.
So now you drive back from
Brenda's
according to
apartment.
you, Haskell 75, over to South 75, to westbound Woodall Rogers, to southbound I-35, to the 67 split, and then take whatever exit it is. Is that the drive?
Yes.
How long are you down there?
We're there for about an hour. 45 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour.
And you drive back, you say back to Crystal's, or back to
Brenda's, yes.
Next day, is that the end of time you spent on this?
Yes.
What did you do? What's the surveillance the next day?
The next day we start looking for a gun. And we go to the academy, and then we realize that if we purchase a gun at the academy, it'll fall back on us. And we start going to Pleasant Grove and kind of like areas that are run down.
So you would have spent hours on this day.
Yes, we were looking for a gun.
Did you go to Academy?
Yes, I did go to academy.
Did you go inside Academy?
Yes, I did.
Did you go in there and look at guns?
Yes, I did.
Did you pick anyone up? Or
No,
necessarily?
because they're in a glass case.
Right. You gotta let the court report can only get once. All right. Would you know that if you go to any sports place like that, they're gonna have you fill out records to buy a gun?
No.
When did you learn that?
I didn't purchase a gun from there, so I don't know.
You just got through telling this jury
That we were gonna, we just figured that, because the receipt, the credit card, how were we gonna buy it? We didn't have cash on us that day. The academy has surveillance of me getting off. Correct? Correct?
You're telling me, I'm asking the question, you said, I didn't discover that the gun would be tied to me.
Because I got...
Ma'am,
Oh, sorry.
the court report can only take that long.
Okay.
You just got through saying, I didn't discover that the purchase of the gun would be tied to me until I was at the countertop, whatever, until I was at the countertop at Academy.
But I didn't ask for...
Ma'am,
Ask the question, Mr. Miller.
you just got through telling this jury, I didn't figure out.
The question.
Are you telling us that it never occurred to you before you went into Academy that there would be records created by the purchase of a gun?
No, I did not know. But, okay, in my listen...
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained. Ask another question.
You leave Academy, where do you go?
We go to neighborhoods that are run down, and we start asking people to help us find a gun.
And how much? What's the grand total on that day that you spent trying to find a gun?
We left Academy like around 2 p.m. Hold on. We left Academy around 2 p.m. And we started going to Pleasant Grove, Oak Cliff, over there by Denley. And in Oak Cliff, over by Denley, Denly, and Pleasant Grove over there off of Lake June and Bruton.
My question is, what's the total amount of time you spent that day trying to find a gun?
Probably about 5 or 6 hours.
Did you, after you did all that, did you do any kind of surveillance related to this?
Yes, we went back to Kendra Hatcher's place and we drove around the block, and then we went into the parking garage and we parked in the visitors parking
How long did you stay?
for about 10-15 minutes.
And then where did you go?
We separated. She dropped me off at my mom's house and she went to her apartment.
So in that entire day, you had maybe as much as 8 hours devoted to this operation, if you will.
Yes.
The next day, what did you do that related to this?
We meet Kelly and Kristopher Love back at the Mandalay Apartments.
And that you would have to have driven there from wherever you were all the way down to south of Redbird Airport, correct?
Yes.
And how long are you there?
For about an hour.
And then when you leave, where do you go?
I go with Brenda because she picked me up.
Ma'am, where did you go?
We went to Kendra Hatcher's apartments.
So you would have had to have driven back up through downtown Dallas and gone to the uptown area by Clyde Warren Park.
Yes.
What did you do when you got there?
I sat in the car with Brenda.
How long did you stay there?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Did you do anything else that day relating to this deal with Dr. Hatcher?
No.
You testified previously that you followed her almost daily. We are now within days of the murder, and you have yet to tell this jury one time that you ever followed that woman. Do you now say, we didn't follow her every day for 2 weeks?
We were just around her area. We were just there with her. Where she parked at the parking garage, we would go and it'll be nighttime.
So, your testimony is that you did not follow her as part of your surveillance. Is that what you're now saying?
Well, that to me is following a person.
Going to where someone is what you mean by following?
Yes. Because we would go to her house all the time, and we'd go to her place of job all the time, and she would just be there. So, yes.
How is that following by any definition of the word following?
Because she wasn't even expecting us to be there.
Do you not think following means either they're walking?
And I'm going to object.
Yeah, let's move on.
Bottom line is, if you look at the 2 weeks you had in this, that you have admitted that you have in this, you have spent no less than 40 hours. Would that be a good estimate? Maybe 50?
Probably
Is that,
a good estimate.
you're supposed to get a grand total of $500 for about 50 hours worth of work.
No, I was supposed to get $500 to drive Kristopher Love to commit the murder of Kendra Hatcher.
Well, that's what you're telling us, but the point, though, is it wasn't simply for $500 I'll be an Uber driver. You spent weeks on this. Did you ever get any, quote, interim payments?
No.
By the time this thing's going, you've got 50 hours in it-ish. I mean, the bottom line is you could go get a job at McDonald's that would pay a salary not unlike what we're talking about here on an hourly rate, correct?
Possibly.
This wasn't simply, hey, here's $500, drive. This was be available according to you, if the story is true. Your story is be available more or less at my beck and call, day and night. Drive all over the city, drive back and forth to Irving out by MacArthur Boulevard, beyond where the old Cowboys Stadium was, drive down to Leadbird Airport, correct?
Correct.
On an hourly basis, you weren't hardly making any money if the story is true, correct?
I got paid to drive Kristopher Love to commit the murder of Kendra Hatcher. I didn't get paid to surveillance everything else.
Then if you're telling the truth, why didn't you say, hold on, I signed up to be the driver, you let me know when I need to drive, I'll drive, but I didn't sign on for doing all this for 2 weeks, day and night. Why didn't you say, I didn't sign up for this, now what more money?
I didn't think of it.
How did you not think? What else is there to think about when you're driving all over the place, you're going to meetings with people, you're basically going down the street asking, hey, would you commit a murder for hire?
I didn't think of it.
Well, if I was going to drive somebody that's going to take 1 hour of my time, maybe $500 seems like a decent wage. But this was, according to what you're telling us, this 2-week, day and night, mornings, afternoons, weekends, evenings endeavor, correct?
I'm going to object. He's asked and answered.
Sustained.
Next question.
In the 2 weeks that y'all had, and all of this time to talk and think and do, what was the plan? If Brenda was supposedly there, what was the plan between you and Brenda as to, if you get questioned by the police, here's what you're going to say, or if I get questioned by the police, here's what I'm going to say. What was y'all's plan if Brenda was supposedly in this with you?
I didn't have a backup plan, and she told me she was going to Mexico.
My question, though, is what was the plan as to what you were going to say?
I
Objection.
said
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
she said she was going to Mexico.
Wait. He'll ask you another question.
Was there a plan as to what to say?
No.
Sustained.
Now, if we look at the deal that you to get down to where we were, where we are. September 21 meeting between you and the prosecutors and detectives, September 21 of last year. The September 21, 2018 meeting between you and members of the district attorney's office and police. That meeting occurred when you supposedly were going to tell them the truth, correct?
Yes.
And that meeting predated shortly before you would be called as a witness to testify against Kristopher Love, correct?
Yes.
And at that meeting, it was finally agreed that if you testify truthfully against both Kristopher Love and Brenda Delgado, you would get a 35-year prison sentence for the offense of murder, correct?
Yes.
Now, we have heard what you're willing to do by your statements here for $500. You knew then, before you went into that meeting with the prosecutors and cut your deal, you knew then you could be facing the death penalty as we previously discussed, correct?
Yes.
And when this deal was made that they would take capital off and let you plead to a straight murder, you knew that was a huge difference, didn't you?
Yes.
You knew that unlike capital murder, a straight murder is affected by the parole laws, correct?
I didn't know that.
Your Honor, may I approach, please?
Are you telling this jury under oath?
Excuse me, Counselor, just rules.
Are you telling this jury that you have no concept of parole?
I didn't know. Rephrase your question.
Prior to cutting the deal, is it your testimony before this jury that you have no concept of the application of the parole laws and how they may affect you?
I didn't understand how parole worked, if that's what you're asking me.
You did or you did not?
Did not.
Thank you. Move along.
Do you understand it today?
Yes.
Do you understand that unlike capital murder,
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object to this line of questioning.
Sustain. We're going to move off of this line of questioning.
you understand that if you don't cut a deal with these guys, they had you at an absolute minimum, life without parole, correct?
Yes.
And now you understand that with the deal you cut, you'll be breathing free air by the time you're my age, no matter what happens to you. Truthful statement?
Yes.
So the bottom line is, no matter what happens.
Well, technically, if I were to lie, I would lose my part of the deal. But I haven't lied.
Correct. In other words, if you can't sell, that's an important point. If you can't sell what you're selling, and that is your testimony in this trial, if you're not believed, then they could say, well, you didn't tell the truth, and therefore we can give you life without parole, correct?
Possibly, yes.
So it is imperative that this jury believe you when you say these things about Brenda Delgado, correct?
Well, what I'm stating is true.
It is imperative for your deal, for you to get something other than a minimum of life without parole. It is imperative that this jury believe what you're saying
Let me
about...
see the lawyer's argument.
You understand as part of this deal. So we understand. They didn't need you to convict you, correct?
No.
They didn't need you to convict Kristopher Love, correct?
Correct.
But they need you here. And instead of possibly the death sentence or life without parole, where you die in prison, you said, I'll say all this and testify, and if they believe you, if you're helping them, and they believe you're true, then you have a deal with them,
Mr.
correct?
Elder, that's the conversation we just had at the side of the bench.
No, if they, I'm sorry, the prosecutors, I apologize. If the prosecutors, in other words, if they don't believe you, the men seated to my left, the prosecutors, if they don't believe you, then you don't have your deal, right?
If they didn't believe me, I wouldn't be here today.
If they don't believe you, they don't need you except to get Brenda. Common sense, right?
If they didn't believe me, I would have never testified at Kristopher Love's trial, and I wouldn't be here today.
You have fingered a number of people in connection with this case, correct?
Yes.
I mean, at one point you said Kelly Ellis was actively participating in it when you know that he didn't. Correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, when we sit there and say, what's your threshold? I mean, everybody's got a moral compass. And we say, what is Crystal Cortes' moral compass? Yours is, I'll kill somebody for $500. I'll finger somebody for a capital murder just to get the heat off me. I'll point the finger at another man when I could just tell the police, his name is Kristopher, he lives in Mandalay. I don't do it. Somebody goes down for murder.
Objection, Your Honor, there's no question anywhere here. It's a statement by the defense.
Sustained.
The point is, ma'am, would it be a very, very true statement that where most people really do have a moral compass, you have none?
That is not a true statement.
Really?
Yes.
What is it then?
What is my
Where
moral?
you say, what is it where you say, I do have a moral compass, yet I can look at the family of Dr. Hatcher and know for $500 I killed that woman.
You want to know what my moral compass was? At that point in time, I felt like I owed loyalty to Brenda Delgado, and that is my moral compass.
So your moral compass, I'll do anything for somebody I met 2 weeks ago.
I met her a month prior to the murder. And we
According
spent
to you, it was 2 weeks before you...
No, listen, when everybody asked me and we sat down, they asked me, when did I meet Brenda Delgado? And I told them, I met them through Jennifer Escobar a month prior.
I'm talking about when you agreed to kill a woman that you didn't even know. That was 2 weeks after you supposedly, well, according to you, 2 weeks after you met Brenda. You did meet her in early August, correct?
Correct.
Now, according to your testimony, though, you agreed to murder a woman you didn't even know 2 weeks after you met Brenda Delgado.
Correct.
You said earlier that you love your son, Ivan, correct?
Yes.
I assume you do.
Yes.
Do you think Dr. Hatcher's parents love her any less?
No, I don't. I feel like they love her more.
As a mother, so when we know your moral compass, as a mother, you didn't care one bit about taking somebody else's child from them, did you?
I didn't think of it like that at the time.
Really? When you seeing that woman, you didn't think one bit, why does she have to die?
No.
That's witness.
Now, when I met with you back in, we first met, you and I first met November 3rd of 2016, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, we've talked about you lying. I think he spent 45 minutes on you and all the lies you told.
Yes.
Okay? First time I met you was November 3rd of 2016.
Correct.
That was in my office upstairs.
Yes.
Now, before that time, you had given all these statements to Detective Barnes. Is that
Yes.
right? And you had lied to Detective Barnes.
Correct.
Now, when I met you, I was with George Ashford, who was in the room at the same time.
Yes.
And you had a lawyer at that point in time appointed to you.
Objection
Yes.
to leading his own witness.
Sustained.
And you had a lawyer sitting in there with you that time, right?
Yes.
And all these things that you understood about the law and all that, he had already explained that to you as far as parties and things of that nature. Is that right?
Yes.
But on November 3rd of 2016, you lied to me. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Now, I didn't confront you or anything like that with any of the facts or anything like that, did I?
No.
Any of the things that I had that Detective Barnes or the investigators had collected, I didn't show that to you and say, you're lying here, you're lying there, you're lying there.
No,
Objection,
not at
Your
all.
Honor. Objection, Your Honor. He is continuing to lead his own witness.
Sustained.
Okay. What was that conversation like? That very first time when you sat down?
We all sat down and talked, and I told you my side of the story. And we parted ways afterwards.
You parted ways.
Yes.
Okay? And I didn't talk to you again for probably another year.
That's correct.
Okay? Actually, it wasn't until September 21st of 2018.
That's
That's
correct.
2 years.
That's, yep.
Okay? And you knew, and we brought you in there, and did we tell you what was about to happen in a couple of months from that day?
Yes, you did.
Objection, leading.
What did we tell you was about to happen?
Kristopher Love was about to go on trial
Okay.
for the death of Kendra Hatcher.
Did we have a discussion about what we had done in preparation for that trial?
Yes.
What did I tell you?
That you didn't need me at all.
Okay. And did I tell you that did we talk about the work we had done to prepare for that trial?
Yes, that you three spent tremendous amount
Objection
of
to
time.
hearsay.
Sustained.
In response to what you heard us talking, what did you tell us you wanted to do at that time?
I wanted to be honest and tell y'all what really happened.
Did we talk about any deals at all with you on that day?
No, not at all.
Not even at the end of that conversation, we didn't talk about any deals.
No,
Objection to leaving.
I went to my cell that day. and y'all-
Objection to,
Sustained, don't leave.
Okay. Did we have any discussions about a deal for you that day?
No,
Was there a time when you came back up to our office?
yes, it was about a few weeks prior to Kristopher Love's trial.
And do we have another question, some questions for you at that time as well?
Yes, you did.
Now, at any point in time, after that meeting in September 21st, did I confront you with any of the evidence to show you that you're not telling me the truth?
Yes, you did.
What did I do?
You showed me a video and I told you that I completely forgot about it.
Okay, so we found the video of the silence,
Correct.
and you had forgotten about that.
Yes.
Okay, we talked about that.
Yes.
After that, did I have to show you anything else to say that this wasn't, what you're telling me isn't accurate?
No.
Now, after that time, we left the room and we went and talked to your lawyer, is that right?
That's correct.
And then he went back in and talked to you.
That's correct.
I don't want to get into your conversation that you have with your lawyer, but that's when we had informed him of what the deal would be for you to testify truthfully in these trials.
That's correct.
Now, you had said in response to one of Mr. Milner's questions that you did something for someone. I think he asked you that you had just met 2 weeks before, and you were correcting him and saying, no, you met her at least approximately a month before this offense.
Right.
And he asked you, why for $500? And your response was because you were loyal to Brenda.
That's correct.
Tell me about that. Why? I've asked this question of you 3 or 4 different times. Why did you do this?
Because I felt like I owed her loyalty. Because I felt like if I didn't show my true friendship to her, she would just walk away and just throw me under the rug like everybody else did.
Did you want to be friends with her?
Yeah, I did at that point in time. Yes, I did.
Why did you want to be friends with her?
Just because she seemed like she would be a nice friend.
Okay. Did she pay for stuff when y'all together?
She took me out to eat a few times, yes.
Did she have a nice car?
Yes, she had a Lexus.
Did she live in a nice part of town?
Yes.
Was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
Was she working hard at her schoolwork during this time as well?
Yes, she was.
Did you know Kendra Hatcher before meeting Brenda Delgado?
Never, not once.
Did you know Kristopher Love before the day that Kelly Ellis introduced you to him?
No, never,
So
not once.
he's not a lifelong friend of yours or someone that you've known for a very long time?
No.
Didn't I tell you when we were getting ready for this trial, I didn't need you for this trial either?
That's true. You said you didn't need me for either one of the trials.
Now, all those times that Barnes kept coming back in and talking to you, would he confront you with new stuff that he had learned in his investigation?
Yes, he would.
Let me show you what's marked as State's Exhibit number 137. You recognize that?
Those are my car keys.
We'll offer State's Exhibit number 137.
no objection.
Now, you said that the reason why you were involved with this is because you were given $500
Yes.
and that you felt loyal to Brenda.
Yes.
We know that Kristopher Love was involved with this, you said, because he was getting paid to do this. and that and drugs and money.
That's correct.
Why is it that Brenda wanted this to happen?
She was envious of Kendra Hatcher, and she really wanted to be with Ricky.
Did she talk about that?
Yes, she did.
Did she think that if Kendra was out of the way, that she and Ricky could be together?
Possibly.
Now, there were some questions about whether or not you felt like Kendra Hatcher was real wealthy. Okay? You remember those questions?
Yes, I do.
You'd already picked out in that parking lot that there was a Maserati in that parking lot?
Yes.
There's Porsches in that parking lot?
Yes.
You've driven all over town. You were with Kristopher Love in a number of different areas. Is that right?
That's correct.
Not once did you guys rob any other individual.
No.
Some random individual that no one would even know that you guys are connected to in any way, shape, or form, or anyone that you know is connected to.
Never, not once.
But the one person who you went and robbed, and the one person that had a gun put to her head, the one person who was executed in this case just happens to be the the girlfriend of Brenda Delgado's ex-boyfriend.
That's correct.
And you sat and waited for her for 20 minutes till she particularly came in.
That's correct.
Other cars were in that parking lot.
Yes.
Other people were in that parking lot.
Yes.
It's a very nice apartment complex.
Yes.
One of the nicest ones in Dallas.
Yes.
Presumably one of the safest ones in Dallas.
Yes.
But you waited until the 2007 Toyota Camry came through there, parked, and Kristopher Love went out and did what he had to do.
That's correct.
I'll pass the witness.
Reality, Ms. Cortez, during the month you were there, you heard Brenda talking smack, if you will, about Dr. Hatcher, correct?
Yes.
You heard Brenda Delgado talking about how she's doesn't like Dr. Hatcher, she doesn't like that Ricky is with Dr. Hatcher, and she is obsessed, if you will, with Ricky Paniagua, correct?
Yes.
You heard her say these things in front of other people, correct?
In front of Jennifer Escobar.
You knew that she was saying stuff like this, pretty much anybody she knew, correct?
Yeah, in front of Pax, but I didn't, in front of Jennifer and in front of me.
My point is, Brenda wasn't shy about saying that she liked Ricky, wanted to be with Ricky, wanted Ricky, didn't like being with Brenda Hatcher. True?
True.
So if you knew Brenda, you knew Brenda had this obsession, if you will, with Ricky, correct?
Yes.
You heard her say this to other people, correct?
Yes.
And it is you who knew Kelly Ellis, correct?
Yes.
It is you, not Brenda, who had known Kelly Ellis before any of this, correct?
Correct.
You had known Kelly Ellis for 6 years prior to this, correct?
Correct.
You used Kelly Ellis to get to Kristopher Love, correct?
Yes.
That was your doing, right?
That was our doing. We were together, me and Brenda and Kelly and Chris.
Did Brenda Delgado ever know Kelly Ellis prior to 2 weeks, if you would, on your story, 2 weeks before September 2, 2015?
No.
It is you who knew Kelly Ellis for more than 6 years prior to that date, correct?
That's correct.
It is Kelly Ellis who got you to Kristopher Love, correct?
Kelly Ellis and Kristopher Love were at my mom's house, and Brenda and me showed up at my mom's house.
It is Kristopher Love that was at your mother's house, correct?
That's correct.
So Kristopher Love is there at your mother's house, and Kelly Ellis is there at your mother's house, and that is when you first meet Kristopher Love, true?
Yes.
Now, Kristopher Love is obviously a very horrible, evil person, true?
I would say so, yes.
And if you were gonna do something, if you saw an opportunity to rob some rich girl and get all the money, whatever she's got, what greater opportunity than for you to rob Dr. Hatcher with Kristopher Love, knowing that if anything ever happened to Dr. Hatcher, it ain't you who's going to get blamed. Brenda Delgado is the one they're going to look at because she's told everybody but Santa Claus that she doesn't like Dr. Hatcher and she wants to still be with Ricky. True?
I would say yeah.
That's the witness.
I have nothing further.
All right, members of the jury, we're going to take a recess. We'll be back in the jury room in about 10 minutes, please.
All rise.
Dr. Macy.
Judge, we need to make a bill with support of the sheriff's taker. We need to make a bill with our watches.
Okay. We're on the record outside the presence of the jury.
All right. Please state your name again.
Crystal Cortes?
And you're the same one who's been testifying in front of the jury just moments ago.
Yes.
I asked you about the parole laws. Do you understand that you are subject to the aggravated felony rules for parole?
Yes,
And murder is an aggravated felony, right?
that's correct.
An aggravated felony means that if you were to get a penitentiary sentence, your eligibility for parole would be at 1/2 of your actual time served, correct?
That's correct.
And the parole would be determined by the parole authorities, correct?
Correct.
The judge, even this judge here, can't control parole, correct?
That's correct.
But the bottom line net deal is, for your penitentiary sentence that you assumingly will receive, when you get sentenced to 35 years, you will be eligible for parole once you have served 17 1/2 calendar years.
Eligibility doesn't mean that it's guaranteed.
I'll ask the question again. Is it your understanding, and do you know, that if you get a 35-year prison sentence, you will be eligible under the parole laws to be released on parole at 17 1/2 years?
Yes,
The parole authorities will determine that, correct?
correct.
And you also understand that you will, by law, be afforded all of your back time credit dating back to September 4, 2015,
That's
correct?
correct.
So, right now, you have almost 4 years of back time accrued toward a 35-year sentence, correct?
Correct.
And at 17 1/2 years, starting back on September 4, 2015, you will be legally eligible to be paroled or released from prison.
Correct.
And in no under no circumstances will you have to serve any more than the actual 35-year sentence.
Correct.
We would like to present this in front of the jury. We have the right to confront, cross-examine, as well as present our defense on both the Texas and U.S. constitutions. The jury needs to understand what this witness knows and what the potential benefits are. And the fact is, she may parole, she may not, she can say that, but eligibility is what it is, and that is a matter of law, and she understands it. And I think we all know that virtually none of them will do the entire deal, but the bottom line, it doesn't matter. It goes to her state of mind and what she believes, and we're entitled to show every bit of motive she has to give the testimony that she's giving for the benefit of the state so that we can present our case and effectively cross-examine her.
You wish to defer?
I just have one question. When you said eligibility is a possibility, but it's not
Guaranteed.
Okay, so you understand that 35 years, you got to be making your decisions based on 35 years.
That's correct.
Yeah, I would object.
Sorry?
I would object to this line of questioning.
Sustained. All right.
Is she free?
Yeah, I told you. I just need to know what's the schedule.
Take a drink, but you can't take it in the home.
Are we going to recess?
Yes. Good? Thanks. Hold on, where's that? Hey. All right. You see one of these, okay?
Sure doesn't.
And there-
Just two?
Just,
Still
it
done.
was actually real, like,
Let's put everything you got on.
What time do you want us back here?
Well, where are we going right away?
Back. Back, right away.
Thank you. So I take you.
Call her and tell them to hold her to. They're done with it, right?
Sorry? Yeah, that's good.
that was lot two? Thank you, Jason.
Yes.